Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another edition of MJ Everyday. Little bit of a different episode for you guys today. I'm going to be talking about something personal to me that I've been getting a lot of questions about, and in particular I had a lot of questions about this around the Arnold Sports Festival here in Australia and the Crush It Tour, and I continue to get hit up about this, so I thought I have to shoot an episode of MJ Everyday for you guys because I know a bunch of you are wondering the answers to this question. And then anyone who asks me this question in the future, I can just drop them a link to this video and say that's what's up. So this episode of MJ Everyday is going to be discussing what I plan on doing with my IFBB Pro card, the Pro card that I earned at the end of last year, or at the end of October 2017, after winning the Australia Men's Physique Overall title and the Oceania Men's Physique Overall title. I earned my IFBB Pro card and my IFBB Pro status. And so I've had a lot of questions from people, you know, wondering what my next step is as a competitive athlete, what my next goal is as an IFBB Pro now that I've left the amateur league, the amateur ranks, and now I'm in the pro ranks. You know, where do I go to next? So I wanted to shoot this episode and just address that. So first and foremost, my goal now from an athlete perspective, as an IFBB Pro athlete, is to make it to the Olympia, to make it to the Men's Physique Olympia and do well in the Men's Physique Olympia. So, you know, I'd love to say win the Olympia, which I guess is the ultimate goal for any Men's Physique Pro. But at this stage, it's to make it to the Olympia stage and do well. So, you know, I think realistically a top 5 placing at the Men's Physique Olympia is a realistic goal for me. And then, you know, if I can kind of get there, then the next goal will be to win it, of course. But my goal at the moment is to make it to the Olympia stage and do well, and ideally get a top 5 placing at the Olympia stage before pursuing that next goal. So how do I get there? Little bit of a tricky situation as an Australian athlete, primarily because we don't have any Men's Physique Pro shows in Australia. So my ability to compete in Australia as a Men's Physique Pro athlete is non-existent at this point because we don't have a pro show. I can't compete in amateur shows anymore. That's the past now. I'm no longer part of the amateur league. I'm a pro athlete now, so I can't compete in amateur shows. I can only compete in IFBB Pro shows, sanctioned IFBB Pro shows, and we don't have any in Australia at this point in time. So I have to compete in the US, in Europe, or any other place where there's an IFBB Men's Physique Pro show. Now, in order to make it to the Olympia stage, which is the first part of my goal, the way that the Olympia qualification process now works, it's changed in the last few years, the way it now works is it's a points-based system. So each and every Men's Physique Pro show, depending on how prestigious the show is, you will be awarded a certain number of points depending on where you place in that pro show. And then what happens is the top athletes who have the most amount of points a month before the Olympia, or after the last pro show preceding the Olympia, those are the athletes who then qualify to make it to the Olympia stage. So effectively what that means for me is I need to accumulate as many points as I possibly can in a competitive season, so from Olympia to Olympia, and hopefully earn enough points to be in the top number of athletes who then qualify for the Olympia that year. What that looks like for me, guys, because there's no Australian pro shows and because I have to go to the US or Europe or anywhere else internationally where there are pro shows that I can compete in and earn these points, is I effectively need to find a cluster of shows, you know, ideally in the US would be nice, where I can, you know, do a show, then 2 weeks later do another show, then a week later do another show, then 3 weeks later do another show, and kind of do as many shows as I can do in order to accumulate enough points to make it to the Olympia stage. Tricky for an Australian athlete because it means that I have to, you know, go backwards and forwards from the US or Europe, or go to the US and stay there for a period of time, or go to Europe and stay there for a period of time, and find that cluster of shows that I can do kind of back to back to back and earn those points. points. So that's tricky. And then the other part is tricky is that I have to do shows back to back to back, which is nothing, nothing new to me. I mean, to earn this, I had to do 3 shows back to back to back. I had to do 3 shows in 4 weeks to earn my IFBB Pro card. So I'm more than happy, doing shows back to back and doing peak weeks back to back. It's nothing new to me. That was all part of the process of learning as an amateur athlete, so that when I got to the pro league, I knew how to cope with this sort of pressure and this sort of stress, in the pro league. But that's what it looks like to me. It looks like I have to find these cluster of shows, travel internationally, do a cluster of shows back to back, and hopefully earn enough points within that competitive season to make it to the Olympia stage. And then, man, once you put me on the Olympia stage, I know what I have to do well on that stage. So where I'm at the moment is 2018, this year, is a non-competitive year for me. So I've planned to take this year completely off competing for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I haven't had a year off competing since 2013, and I've competed every year, sometimes twice a year since 2013. So I haven't had a year off for the better part of 5 years. And as a natural athlete, it's important to have that time off to effectively grow, to improve my weaker muscle group. So I'm taking time off for that reason, because I haven't had a good grow season or a good off season, however you want to describe it, for the better part of 5 years. And I do know that going from amateur to pro is a big step up, and I do need to bring up some of my weaker muscle groups, my chest, my upper chest in particular, my back thickness and the thickness through my upper back in particular, to be a top level pro athlete. So I just need that time to grow and work on those weaknesses. So 2018 is out for me. I'm gonna look at 2019, possibly making my pro debut and doing what I just told you guys about, finding a cluster of shows, traveling backwards and forwards, and doing what I need to do to accumulate the required number of points to make it to that Olympia stage. And then once I'm on that Olympia stage, I mean, hold it down for the AGL, hold it down for Australia, hold it down for all the natural athletes out there, hold it down for all the natural men's physique athletes out there, and just do my best on the physique Olympia stage. And I have no doubt in my mind that I will get there, and I know what I need to do to get there, and I know what work I need to put in to get there. And that's why 2018, I'm going to take the time to put that work in. And so by the time I make my pro debut, by the time I make the commitment to go and accumulate the points I need to accumulate to make it to that Olympia stage, it's a sure thing as far as I'm concerned. Guys, that's a wrap for today's episode of MJ Everyday, what I plan on doing with my IFBB Pro card. If you guys have any questions as well, because I've had specific questions about, how I plan on doing this and that and whatnot, feel free to post them down below as a comment to this video. I will get back to each and every one of them on this video, because I know a lot of you guys are kind of interested in following my journey and transition from amateur to pro and kind of see how I'm going about things. So more than happy to get back to any questions that you guys may have. But that's a wrap for today's episode of MJ Everyday. As always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, turn your post notifications on, both on your mobile, your cell phone, and your desktop PC, so you don't miss a beat when it comes to the Massive Joes YouTube channel. Until tomorrow, I'm coming to you from MassiveJoes.com. Stay massive.